ask for summoning of INEC boss as witness. And on stories outside the shores of Nigeria, extremely fierce battle ongoing as Ukraine tries to take ground. Details now. Now, they turned a new page yesterday with the election of Godswill Obot Akpabio, that is, as President of the Senate, and Tajudeen Abbas, Speaker of the House of Representatives. Now, Godswill Akpabio is a representative of Akwa Ibom Northwest, while Tajudeen Abbas is of Zaria Federal Constituency, Kaduna State. Also elected as Senator Barau Jibrin, Kano North, unopposed as Deputy President of the Senate, and Benjamin Okeze Kalu, Bende Federal Constituency, Abia State, as Deputy Speaker, also unopposed. Many Nigerians woke up to a live telecast of the election process on the floor of the two chambers as early as 8 a.m. against the expected 10 a.m. commencement time. The OP News gathered that the time change was communicated to the lawmakers by the National Assembly bureaucracy, but was unknown to many Nigerians. Akpabio, who was nominated by Senator Ali Ndume, representing Borno South, and seconded by Senator Diola Olamileko Ogun West, got 63 votes to Senator Abdulaziz Yari's 46. All 109 senators were present. Following the collapse of last-minute efforts to agree on a consensus around Akpabio, Yari, who represents Zamfara West, contrary to the All Progressives Congress APC zoning arrangement, was nominated by Senator Elisha Abo Adamawa South and seconded by Senator Jimo Ibrahim Ondo South, two APC senators. Now, let's talk about the formation of the National Assembly, the current 10th National Assembly. And in order for us to actually talk about that extensively, I have via the telephone Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid. Now, the idea is to understand what the concept of this new of the 10th National Assembly and how they will represent the people. Each individual, each House of Assembly member, both at the Reps and National Assembly, are representing Nigerians at the federal level. And with the intervention, or would I say the influence of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu in the selection of Akpabio as well as Tajudeen Abbas, as well as Jibrin, that is Barau, and Benjamin Kalu as well. These individuals were individuals that the National Working Committee agreed to be selected as Senate President, Deputy Senate President, House of Reps Speaker, and Deputy House of Reps Speaker. Barrister Tunji, good afternoon and welcome to the World News at 12.
Yeah, good afternoon. Thank you for having me, Esther.
Now, there are fears that President Bola Ahmed Tinubu intervened severely, or rather he influenced the outcome of Akpabio as well as Benjamin Kalu, Tajudeen Abbas and Barau. Now, the question is that will we experience what was experienced on the 9th Assembly, where we saw a legislature that only did what the executive wanted and not what the people recommended or what the people requested? Are we going to see the same thing here?
No, I think the fear is genuine, or the position of the people who are of the things that we likely have in quotes and unquote rubber stamp assembly. It's not far from the truth. We have a genuine concern. A genuine concern is to say that if we look at what happened in the INEC assembly, you can see that whatever comes from the president are always approved without any consideration. In fact, there was an agreement with a Chinese company that the agreement came in Chinese. They don't even understand what is in there, and it was approved by them. And that's why we incur so many they approved loans that are not even properly screened. And that's why people are afraid that, look, since Akpabio and Abbas were brought into power by the president, they are likely to go to act in line with his own decision as well. Just like the assembly, where the president said, look, whatever comes from the president, I will approve it. So it will be difficult. It will be difficult for anyone to see that. It will be difficult for anyone to say that, look, if anything comes from the president, Akpabio will want to say no to it, or the Abbas want to not to it. So that's why people are afraid that, look, having been nominated by the president, having been supported by the president, there is no way we won't have a National Assembly that will be at the whims and caprices of the executive. In
Now,
other words, contrary to what it should be, because National Assembly is a different institutional organ of government that should be separate and independent. What we are seeing today, we are seeing the National Assembly that is being controlled by the executive. In other words, they've merged. So the principle of check and balances or separation of power may no longer be there, and people are afraid of that, and that's why people are saying Robert Stamp.
Now, okay. So there's a particular senator who represents Borno South District, Ali Ndume, who disclosed that nobody should hold him responsible if the newly elected president of the 10th Senate, Godswill Akpabio, fails to meet the expectations of the office. And this was during an interview recently with Channels Television, in one of their political programs. Especially, this was after the inauguration of the 10th National Assembly. Now, you'll recall that Ndume was one of those who spearheaded the campaign for Akpabio and Deputy Speaker Barau Jibril ahead of the elections. And this is basically what he said. I need to read it out to you. He said, If he turns out being the worst, I am not going to be responsible. How can you hold me accountable? I didn't force anybody to vote. I believe he's the best, but I don't know what he will do tomorrow. I can't say that. And he says that he will not share in any liability attached to Akpabio's performance. So from this statement, would you interpret it to be that Senator Ali Ndume does not necessarily believe in Akpabio's personality to rule and do the needful in terms of having the people more at the National Assembly than of the executive? But he did it possibly because this is what they were asked to do. This was the agreement by the National Working Committee of the All Progressives Congress, and possibly since the president really wanted the formation of Akpabio and Barau Jibrin. Do you think that that's what the interpretation of his statement means?
I think what he's trying to do is to try to isolate himself from any blame in case Akpabio failed to perform. Because, in fact, he was the DG of Akpabio for this Senate president or president of the Senate. And he was fully in support of Akpabio. What he said yesterday was that, look, I'm not God. I don't know what this man will do tomorrow. Today that I know him, he will do well, and I know him, he will behave very well. Then if by tomorrow he didn't do well, don't hold me responsible, because I supported him based on my own what I see of him today, not what it will become tomorrow. So I think it shows that, look, he's just trying to play is that politics or religious sentiment? Because he will say that as a Muslim, you don't predict, you don't know what will happen tomorrow, so you must not say this is that you're not God. It's a genuine concern for me, because it shows that even those who are leadership and those who are even fronting for people don't even have 100% confidence in them, that they can say, look, this man that I've supported, I know him, and I know today, tomorrow, he will do the right thing. So in other words, he's trying to say, look, I'm not even too confident that 100% that this man will be what it is today. Tomorrow it can change.
Barrister Tunji, you're still with me on the world news. I need your response to another story, or rather another information that we need to talk about. It's concerning the messy accusations, denials, and counter accusations that have continued to trail the unveiling of the national carrier Nigeria Air on May 26th, which sparked outrage and called for better oversight functions and improved governance. Now, establishing a national carrier was one of the most anticipated projects that many Nigerians prayed that Muhammadu Buhari-led federal government would deliver during his tenure. Nigeria Air was a lofty initiative of the Buhari administration to serve as an official national carrier. The commercial airline, stipulated to be a Boeing 737 national carrier, was built to have 51% of its equity owned by the Nigerian government. And that's basically what it is. And people, that is, you have 51% of the equity owned by the Nigerian government, and while foreign partners would have the remaining 49%. Also, the then aviation minister Hadi Sirika, who midwifed the project, hinted that the Air Nigeria carrier would generate over 70,000 jobs when it begins operations. It was based on some of these promises that many hoped for the materialization of the Nigeria Air project, and the wait lingered for so long. Also discovered is that the unveiling of the National Carrier Airlines, which reportedly gulped over 85 billion naira, was yet to procure an air operating certificate. So this gulped over 85 billion naira. And it's a needed approval for you to actually have an airline. You need that AOC. It's a needed approval issued by the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority to aircraft operators to allow it to use aircraft for commercial flight operations. Besides, the purported Nigeria Air has not secured a single aircraft for its operations. Based on findings, the former Minister of Aviation contacted Ethiopian Airlines a few days before the transfer to obtain an aircraft that would be presented to Nigerians as a Nigeria aircraft. Just 2 days after the aircraft was exhibited, a flying live tracker revealed that the Nigeria airplane had returned to Ethiopia, where it had been brought in from. The unfolding scenario or shenanigans raised fears and speculation that the much-hyped Nigeria's dream for a domestic airline had crash-landed. Now, a Nigerian investigative journalist who was at the forefront of uncovering the LS scam in person of David Hundeyi described the current government's silence as a testament that there wouldn't be any distinction between the Buhari administration and the Bola Ahmed administration. Now, here is the thing. We do know that the Nigeria Air, we began to hear reactions from what turned out in Nigeria Air, right? And Hadi Sirika himself, who is at the crux of Nigeria Air, to all the promise. You recall that the aviation industry went through a lot of hurdles with under Hadi Sirika as the Minister of Aviation. It obviously seemed that most of the policies that were taken at the time had the backing of the presidency, because Hadi Sirika at some point came out to say, no matter what the National Assembly said, they do not have the power to revoke whatever decision he makes concerning whatever transpires at the aviation industry. That was one of the things that he held on to. Now, there's been quite a lot of drama with Nigeria Air. A committee was set up to investigate the monies that was used when we realized that it actually belongs to Ethiopian Air, in the person of Nolim Naji, who was in charge of the committee. Now, Hadi Sirika said Nolim is asking, or rather asked, for a certain percentage, and that is the reason, because he declined to go for that percentage, or rather he told him, he said, there is a bidding process, all right? So you bid. You need to bid if you want a percentage of that airline. If you do not bid, you're not getting anything out of it. And, you know, Hadi Sirika literally saying that's what Nolim is crying out. And Nolim is responding by saying that Hadi Sirika is a sinking man, is a drowning man. You can see the level of corruption that actually occurs on a daily basis. The National Assembly's responsibility, key responsibility, is called oversight functions of monies approved. Whatever monies are budgeted or disbursed, they're meant to oversee it. It's the National Assembly that will call for an oversee and auditing of most of these monies that are being used for most projects. And these are taxpayers' money. These are Nigerians' money. So are we going to see this National Assembly do something expediently about the aviation industry in person of Hadi Sirika being called to be questioned, to answer to questions, and possibly apprehended if need be, if there is a huge fraudulent activity that needs to be uncovered with the, will I say, the fluctuating stories coming out on that particular project of Nigeria Air?
In as much as I believe the National Assembly also has the power to investigate Hadi Sirika, because money were released, money were budgeted by them, were approved. Money budgeted by them were approved. I think the proper appropriate authority to investigate this matter are the security agencies. In other words, the FCC or the police or whoever. That those are the appropriate authority to investigate the matter and to take necessary action where required. The president also should be interested in it. We need to know what happened to it, because for me, I see that Nigeria has just nothing but a deceit, as far as I'm concerned. You cannot just say you can't say you have a Nigeria here or you have a business when you won't just 5% in it. The other percentage goes to the other company. So how can a person with the minimum share be the owner of that company? It's not done anywhere in the world.
But now, based on questions that were being asked, right? Hadi Sirika from his home, because he has been giving stories from his home, is accusing the former chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Aviation. So Nolim Naji was the one in charge of the Aviation Committee, and he's a PDP representative from Enugu. He said that he demanded 5% shares of the national career from him, and he told him that it was bidded for. So in order for him to be part of the process, he needs to go meet those people that won the bidding. If he wanted a percentage, he should go to those people who won the bidding. So he said, I will quote him. He said, he, Honorable Naji, asked me that I should give him 5% of Nigeria Air to carry him along with his people. And
investigate and that is the security agencies, not just the National Assembly. National Assembly investigation is just to unravel the facts, just give us the understanding of what happened, and thereafter make appropriate recommendation. So why not go through why not bypass that procedure and go direct to those who have the authority to even take decision to either go to court or not to go to court? So as far as I'm concerned, the National Assembly should look into it because it paints their image. So most people see them as always looking for what they will get in any oversight portion they are doing. So in that regard, they need to look into it and say too, and ensure that members don't engage in such practices. So as far as I'm concerned, it may likely be looked into by this National Assembly if the allegation continues.
All right, let's hope something is actually done about it. So apparently, too, the candidate of the People's Democratic Party, Alhaji Atiku Abubakar, who alleged that the 2023 presidential election was rigged yesterday, applied to summon the chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmoud Yakubu, to appear before the Presidential Election Petition Court sitting in Abuja. The PDP, who came second in the presidential election that held on February 25, equally summoned the Secretary of the Commission, Dr. Rose Oriara Anton, as well as INEC's National Commissioner, Mr. Festus Okoye. The PDP candidate and former vice president said he would formally obtain subpoenas to compel the trio to appear before the court to give evidence and also tender sensitive electoral documents. The witness told the court that while results of the National Assembly elections were successfully transmitted through the use of the Bimodal Voter Accreditation System (BVAS) and its devices, the process failed when they tried to upload results of the presidential poll, which held on the same day. Now, according to them, the BVAS malfunction made it impossible for the presidential election results to be transmitted to INEC's IRA portal real time. Meanwhile, at the resumed proceeding yesterday, INEC told the court that it had on May 20 raised an objection to additional witness statements Atiku and PDP filed in support of their petition, that is INEC's lawyer, Mr. Abubakar Mahmoud, insisting in that additional statement. Now, apparently, tomorrow, right, Mahmoud Yakubu has been invited to appear at the Election Petition Tribunal on the basis, especially from the People's Democratic Party, that he needs to answer questions as to why the election results were not uploaded real time as he promised, based on what is stipulated in the Electoral Act. And so the question is coming in that he must appear to answer questions. Now, counsels to the petitioners, who is a senior advocate of Nigeria, is urging the court to discountenance INEC's objection. INEC is objecting to the appearance of Mahmoud Yakub to testify at the court. The lawyers that appeared for President Tinubu also respectfully aligned themselves with the position of the electoral body. INEC, who is defending himself, is asking that no, they do not want Mahmoud Yakub to come in court to testify. And then the APC's lawyer too is also aligning themselves. The question now is, how is it that the APC and INEC seems to be at par? They're together. INEC is an independent institution there to defend itself as to the reason why things did not go the way they went at the elections on February 25 and March 18. APC is defending the win of their candidate, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. Why is it that most instances in court, INEC agrees with what APC wants, or the APC there agrees with what INEC? What exactly is going on? Is there a cahooting? What does this actually mean?
You see, in as much as the matter is in court, I will not say much. But what I want to say is that, look, the way our law is structured and the way our system is now, there is no way INEC and the other party, I'm not talking about APC now, our petition, whereby INEC is sued, and then they together with a party that won the election, there is no way they will not align, because what INEC is saying is that this is the winner. I declared him winner because he won the election, and you are saying he did not win. So you are challenging what INEC has done. Mm-hmm. So INEC come and defend what they have done, and that's what they are trying to do. Say, look, what they are saying is not correct. We did the right thing, and this is what we did.
Why is INEC objecting to the appearance of Mahmoud Yakub? He needs to answer questions. He is the basis. He is a strong reason why you have the opposition parties, particularly the APM, the PDP, and the Labour Party at court.
I don't know why they will be objecting to. If I have a case and I know this is the man that can give that what I want to give evidence, if I don't have the capacity to bring that man to court by myself. I have the right to apply to court, to ask the court to summon him or to allow him, to ask him to subpoena him, to come to court to come and give evidence. And that's what they are trying to do. So, it's part of the tactics there. We have a time limit in this case. And then whatever we drag, once the time expires, that will be the end of the case. So it may be part of their tactics, I don't know, to drag time.
A tactic?
Because
you consider it a tactic. However, the justice...
It may be.
Okay, the Justice Amani-led panel reserved ruling on the issue, but adopted it in evidence, the Annex Manual for Election Officials, as well as guidelines for conduct of the 2023 general elections, which were tendered by the petitioners. Now, apparently, President Tinubu and the APC said they were vehemently opposed to 3 video recordings, which Atiku and the PDP applied for the court to admit in evidence. Atiku's lead counsel told the court that the 3 video recordings were that of INEC's chairman, Professor Yakubu, that of INEC's National Commissioner, Mr. Festus Okoye, as well as that of the European Union Election Observer Mission to Nigeria. And then the senior advocate of Nigeria representing the PDP said the recordings were accompanied with certificates of authenticity as well as their transcripts. He told the court that advanced copies were served on all the respondents to enable them have a foreknowledge of contents of the videos contained in flash drives. Now, while INEC said it was not opposed to the admissibility of the video clips, both President Tinubu and the APC said they would, in their final written address, adduce reasons why they raised objections against the video evidence. Exactly, again, if there is a video evidence and you feel that you are on the right path, why object to it? INEC is saying that they would not object the admissibility of those recordings as evidence, but the APC is saying that they're objecting to it, and that towards the end, they will then tell people or tell the court the reason why they will not. Exactly. So what exactly does this mean? These are the kind of explanations we are asking.
It's allowing our practice to reserve your objection. Because, the point is that if there is objection now, the court must rule or one way or the other as to whether or not it will be admissible or not. By the election petition, the courts don't rule on the interlocutory applications in between. You have to wait till the end of the case. So knowing that procedure, they would prefer to raise it in their final written address so that the court will address everything together with the law. It's not against the law, it's in line with our practice. That is the way it is. The court has the right to admit evidence or not to admit evidence. You are the lawyer too. When you bring tender, you have the right to either object or not object, or reserve your reason for objection to the end of the case.
So at the end of the day, will Mahmoud Yakub as well as Festus Okoye appear at the Election Petition Tribunal? They need to appear to answer questions. Otherwise, it may give an impression that they have something to hide.
No, if the court admits that that it should be allowed, it should be called to come and send that document or something. The court approved that from the PDP application. It's under obligation to come to court. The PDP, the APC or the INEC have no right to say no, will not come. Once it is approved by the court, he has no choice. He must come. He will be summoned by the court. So he has no choice than to come. Once that subpoena is approved, he must come to court.
Thank you, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid.
Because why they want them to come is that, look, if you say you are made statements, and I'm not in court to ask a question regarding those statements, they may not be able to get the weight the court will attach to it may be low than when the person is in court and was examining on it and he was able to answer questions on it. The weight may be higher than when it is tendered by another person.
All right. Thank you so much, Barrister Tunji Abdulhamid. I do appreciate your time with us on the World News at 12.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Now, in stories outside the shores of Nigeria, Ukraine's counter-offensive has resulted in further advances and some extremely fierce battles. Last night, Russian President Vladimir Putin claimed the maneuver was failing and the opposition army was suffering major losses. The Ukrainians say their troops have recaptured 7 settlements and at least 90 square kilometers since starting their counter-offensive. Earlier, at least 3 people were killed in a relatively rare Russian attack on the Black Sea port of Odessa, and 3 others died after strikes in the eastern Donetsk region. Russian forces are also accused of killing civilians in a vehicle in the northeastern Sumy region yesterday, though Moscow is yet to comment on any of the fresh allegations. And now to wrap up the world news at 12, here again are the top stories. Akpabio Abbas step in as Senate President Speaker. Nigerians view failure of extremely fierce battle currently ongoing as Ukraine tries to take ground. That is a wrap on the World News at 12 right here on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. My name is Esther Wachuku.